right, so today we're here with Paola, who's going to talk to us about some of, her project. So, let's start from the beginning. First of all, thank you for joining us and giving us some time. As the first thing, tell us a bit about you. Who's Paola? So, what inspired your passion and cooking project?
Thank you very much for inviting me today. It's my pleasure to be here with you. My name is Paola Lovisetti Scamihorn. You see, my part of my name is not Italian,
Yeah.
but because my husband is American, but I'm 100% Italian. Actually, I was born at Lake Como, the famous place. And my background is not in cooking, but in pharmacy.
Okay, so another
I
sector completely. When did you
know
start this passion for
I
cooking?
started, as a pharmacist, and also I have a degree, a master degree in medical and pharmacology. And cooking has always been my passion. So I started cooking since I was a little girl, with my mother, my grandmother, my aunt,
Mm-hmm.
and learning the traditional Italian recipes. This is the way we Italians learn how to cook from one generation to the other generation. So, during my life, cooking has always been my passion, and my work was mainly focused on research.
Mm-hmm.
And in my family, typical Italian family, we liked to host the people. My mom always, my parents always invited people over to dinner. So for me, I grew up in this type of environment. And actually, I did the same with my own family, inviting my friends, and being my husband American, most of our friends were very international. So, I prepared for them typical Italian dishes. And of course, all the foreigners say, wow, this is so
Yeah, of
good. Please
course.
give me, Italian food. It's really well received all over the world.
Mhm.
And, give me the recipes. Why, Paola, you start a blog. Actually, the enthusiasm of my friends inspired me to start a blog, Passion in
Okay.
Cooking, about 13 years ago. I took a course, how blogging, because of course for me I came, from a
Of
completely
course.
different environment, was something very new. And actually I started the blog only just posting recipes for my friends, something very easy to,
Mhm.
nothing very professional.
You didn't expect the success.
Yes, really, I didn't expect really to start a new business career, something I said, okay, I do this for fun. And actually, it's nice to have a blog. So it's like a collection of recipes. Sometimes also myself, when I cook something that not I usually cook, I
Mhm.
go to my blog and I check, for example, the quantity of the ingredients, because, there are so many recipes. And especially when you bake, you have to be extremely precise.
Yeah.
In the past, we have a diaries,
Yeah.
to write all the recipes.
The
Nowadays,
famous grandma's diary. But I always think about this. So my grandma wouldn't know how to tell me how to do something because she was going by your eye. So like she
yeah,
doesn't know how much of this or how much of that, which is very hard to explain to a foreigner. This
and yes, I
recipe.
understand what you are saying, because sometimes when I read Italian recipes, it's very common to say quanto basta.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, quanto basta. But
Which
of
means,
course, for a foreigner, the first time, we don't have any idea the amount of what we have to add. So, in my blog, actually, my background in chemistry and research really helped me in that to be extremely precise. Because
Mhm.
actually, when you cook, is the same when you do an experiment in the lab. You start with some ingredients and you end up with some other products. But the most important thing, especially when you, as I told you, when you bake, it's the proportion and the amounts that you have to be extremely precise. So, I tried in my blog the recipes to write the recipes mainly for, foreigners. In fact, the blog is in English because I wanted actually to export the real Italian cuisine abroad. And also what I do is to use both the metrical and the imperial system.
Oh yeah, of course, because that's another thing.
Because yes, for the Americans especially, they use mainly the imperial system, ounces, they use cups, it's completely different.
Yeah.
In my recipe, so each recipe has both and sometimes also I try to find substitutes for them because some ingredients are not available in other countries, especially maybe also in the States. So in case you don't find this, you can
Yes.
find something very similar, maybe has the same consistency, maybe the same taste, as much as similar as you can.
I remember I couldn't find some things, maybe something about panna or
Ah,
and no
la
one
panna
would
da cucina, la panna da
yeah.
cucina.
And I was
So,
like,
there are
I wouldn't know
some,
how to
like,
explain.
for example, the Americans, they use a lot of buttermilk.
Oh yes.
But yes, in Italy, but I found the solution how to prepare buttermilk at home. It's milk with some vinegar, white vinegar.
What are your favorite three top dishes to cook? Or
You know,
and
there are so many Italian recipes because our cuisine it's really very tasty. But I have to be honest, I like vegetables. So any dish that you can make with vegetables. And for example, ratatouille all'italiana, that is very nice in summer when you have bell peppers, eggplant, zucchini, and tomatoes. You can make really a very nice summer dish as a side dish, or you can also put on a bruschetta. It's a very nice. And of course, one I really like risotto. It's a
oh, me too.
staple of my region. Yes, I'm coming from Lombardia, and of course, the risotto here is very popular. And also at Lake Como, we have a
Risotto
risotto
alla
with
milanese.
with the perch fish, risotto al pesce persico. And the risotto is something very versatile. You can cook it so many ways. You can add meat, fish, vegetables, and also I have very tasty recipes also with fruit. For example, it's very nice with blueberries or strawberries, apples. So, and it's so creamy and it's very nice. You can have it in any season according to the ingredients you add to
Yeah.
it.
So are you only reporting recipes or also inventing some? Like putting together some ingredients, make it your own?
To be honest, I try to be faithful to the Italian cuisine, but at least with my taste and having some nutritional background, also
Yeah.
following some nutritional guidelines to make the recipes very healthy, sometimes substituting some ingredients, then make the recipe, lighter and healthier. And so, this is the way I try to reinvent the recipes. I'm a scientist. So, especially when you mix flavors, sometimes you can and you cannot mix flavors. Also if you talk from the nutritional point of view, too many ingredients together are more difficult to digest. So I try not to mix, for example, fish with cheese or meat with cheese. There are some combinations that you should avoid. For example, I try to use a lot of pasta, for example, carbs with a lot of vegetables because, of course, it's more digestible. And of course, you decrease the glycemic index of the carbs if you eat the vegetables because you have the fiber. Trying to make real Italian recipes, but with this modern twist. Like in my book, The Mamma Mia Diet, that is a modern interpretation of the Mediterranean diet.
Basically, your knowledge as a, say, scientist and your knowledge as an Italian, great Italian recipes, but also a good way of staying healthy, and which is great. And in fact, many times we say that Italian cuisine, if compared to other cuisines in the world, is very healthy, and we tend to cook with less ingredients, but still our flavor is so rich. So how can you reproduce this kind of thing outside of Italy, especially in maybe in some places like US, where maybe the ingredients are not as tasty, and you tend to add so much more?
This is really difficult because we in Italy, we
Yeah.
are really lucky that we have really the quality and the freshness of our ingredients. And actually, this is the secret because when in Italy you eat a tomato,
Oh, yeah.
is really good. You don't need to add too much because sometimes, often in summer I prepare tomato sauce and actually I don't add anything. But of course, abroad, you have to try to shop for the right ingredients. I organize culinary experiences for Americans. And I teach people, we go together to the market and I teach them how to select the ingredients and what they should look for when they buy stuff in the States. And the type, of course, the vegetables, they should have, fresh from there. But other Italian products, for example, to try to go to Italian stores, to select Italian brands, that you can be certain, for example, pasta or other ingredients, cheeses, try to buy the authentic one or, something like that. Because if you start with good ingredients, it's much easier to prepare tasty
Yes.
dishes.
Not only sharing recipes and traditions, you're also educating people on how to eat.
Yeah,
So,
that's also during my culinary experiences. I do that. And people, they really enjoy that because it's something different. Because when they sign up for my cooking classes, they expect a traditional cooking class where you can find everywhere. But when they come, they say, oh, wow, this is very different because we learned so much. And actually, when they go home, they send me a message, oh, we tried to reproduce this. Thank you very much for this tip. Thank you very much
great.
for that. Americans are really very interested
Oh, yes,
in Italian cuisine. Yes, for them,
it's a
they
big deal.
love it. They love it. And really, when they come, they're very enthusiastic. And this makes me, very happy to share it with them.
From this small interest of your friends, it became all of this. It's great.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, that's a secret, but I will say it. My first cooking class, I took it in the US. It's because, as you said, they are so passionate about our culture that, a big deal. While for me, it's very like common thing. Everyone can participate to your cooking classes. You don't need to be
Yes,
expert.
you don't need to have a special skills. You can be a beginner, you can be somebody who is more
Yeah.
expert, so something like that. Actually, people, they want to live the experience. This is the most important thing. I have to be honest, sometimes people don't cook at all. They come, because my classes are private, can be 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, but they come all together. So they come and maybe a group of 4 friends, and they sit, they talk, they drink, and they listen to me and they watch me. And for them, and it's for them, and then we sit at the table, we eat the food. They really want to enjoy this Italian conviviality, the way we sit around the table and we enjoy food. Also, I teach them a little bit some etiquette, for example, to set the table, because also the way we eat is different. For them, it's something that something that they learn. It's a lesson about life. It's not only just a lesson about cooking.
So it's like you're sharing Italian experiences 360 degrees from
Yes,
cooking to eating healthy, to
yeah,
going to the supermarket, to how do you actually live this experience? Hospitality for us, it's a big
it's
deal.
very important.
And
How to
even when
treat
we,
our guests,
Mhm.
that really for us, guests are very special. So
Yes,
you serve them, you do all, as much as you can. We don't do that like because they are clients, but you do the same with your family, you do the same with your friends.
it's
It's
a way
something
of
part of
doing it.
our culture.
But that's also something we try to reproduce in our project. You know, we're trying to find restaurants where people can go and eat, but not only good food, but also eat, let's say, a good experience. So
Yeah.
this all conviviality we're talking about. So tell us a bit about your book and how did you write it, and what was the biggest challenge in, one of them probably is the transporting the grams to ounces and stuff. What else? The products probably you talked about before.
Yes, because I wrote so far five books.
Mhm.
One, the last one, it's not published yet, but will be
Coming
published
soon.
in a few, maybe next month or maximum 2 months.
Okay.
I'm working on it. It's almost finished. Also, I started these books a little bit for fun. The first one, especially, my blog was very successful since the beginning. Actually, I was contacted by an American publisher, and he said, "Oh, Paola, would you like to write a book with me?" Actually, his ideas about a cooking book was a little bit different than mine. So we talk a little bit. And at the end, I said, no, thank you, because for me, a cooking book should have a lot of pictures, especially when you show people a recipe that is not familiar, they have to see the result. So I decided to publish myself, and actually this book was very successful. I sent him a copy, and he was very pleased with it. And actually, he contacted me for a second book. And actually, the second book he proposed me, I really accepted his idea with less pictures,
Okay.
because it was it's a diet. Half of the book, more than half of the book, it's about an explanation what it's about the Mediterranean diet, the protein and all this, how to shop, everything,
Goes
it's
beyond
something
the
more, it's not
meat.
really. And the second part, there are some recipes. So, but people who buy this book don't expect to have a cookbook. It's a more, it's a diet book.
A
So, the
guide.
concept, it's a little bit different. So, I wrote this book, The Mamma Mia Diet. And then after that, I published another book with the publisher in Italy about, of course, my favorite ingredients, vegetables and fruit, about, honestly healthy, that it's only just salads and smoothie. I publish a small book about coronavirus during the pandemic. And now I'm working on another book that is about the aperitivo.
Oh, I
The
like this book.
Italian, yes, everybody likes it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a book that it's about, there are many recipes about homemade zucchini, the Italian finger foods, paired to the proper drink. It can be a wine, can be a cocktail, a mocktail, but there is, like all my books, they are not only just recipes, but there are also a lot of information about, how we live, how we enjoy the aperitivo. Aperitivo is not only just a drink, it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
way to socialize, to relax
Mm.
with your friends.
Tell me about
It's
it. I live in Veneto now, so
Yeah, there is always an excuse to have an aperitivo. Veneto, you have good wine. Yeah.
yeah.
a glass of good wine with some zucchini. Really, and you can socialize in a very easy way.
You talked about the cottage. What's this
Yeah.
project about?
Okay, the cottage is it's a project I started with my husband, who is an architect, a few years ago here in Como, and we bought a house, restored it with several
Mhm.
apartments. At the beginning, we wanted to do some vacation rentals, but at the end, we decided that we are both so busy working, with other stuff. We didn't want to. So now we rented, more long-term, 1 year, 2 years, it depends, something like that. But, all the apartments are very nice, furniture, it's very cozy building, I should say. But our last project, actually, it's much more interesting, and I'm working hard on it.
Mm.
That will be finished next year. It's a very nice and large property in Tuscany. Yeah, that's very nice. Good food, good wine, a lot of culture, art, wonderful landscape. It's an old building. It's a priest house with this consecrated church from the 15th century. And then we are renovating an elegant villa with nice suites and a pool and all the amenities you can have. So it will be ready next summer. And this property is it's very nice for weddings. So that's very exciting
Yeah.
project because a lot of nice people, and we love Tuscany. It's our favorite, one of our favorite regions in Italy, and it's so peaceful. And we spend summer there, and then so for this reason we decided to start this project there.
So if you have to think about your project, Passion and Cooking,
Yeah.
what was the most rewarding part of it, the most challenging part of it, and your overall consideration of it? You started small and you're, spreading out.
Yeah, what I really like about passion in cooking, that I have the opportunity to connect with a lot of people all over the world. That's very nice because, as I told you, I meet a lot of interesting people. They come from my blog. Some people are really interested about cooking, but also I found other work opportunities from like events and weddings through my blog. It's a very nice way, the connection. And also it's very nice that to see the enthusiasm of the people who enjoy the Italian food, my recipes, and this, their enthusiasm, it's really fulfilling for me. In fact, the name is Passion and Cooking because, I started this project with a lot of passion. And actually, I did it only just for passion. You can imagine at the beginning, every week to publish a recipe, to cook, to take a picture, and to post it. And I was a very systematic, every week. So, now because I'm busy doing other things and I have so many recipes at the moment, I don't do it so regularly. But so it means that from your passion, what now, but this, because I think people understand when you do something for passion and you
Definitely.
share it to the other. And for me, really, their enthusiasm really is something very really important.
Enthusiasm and passion and
Yeah,
consistency.
yeah.
That's great. That's great. So we are looking forward to see your next book, which is going to be
Okay.
about
I
aperitivo.
will keep
Yes,
you informed.
yes, absolutely. Good luck with this new project in Tuscany,
Thank you very
which
much,
is due
Martina.
next year, right?
Summer 2026.
All right. And if anyone wants to book a class with you, has
You can
contact you
register directly on my blog.
through the blog. Great, that's great. Thank you again for being with us and sharing your
Thank you very
story with us.
much.
And good luck
It
with
was really my
everything.
pleasure. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Ciao.